you spend a lot of time on social media, I do, you might have noticed yesterday that Elon Musk's X was down for a while. It's pretty annoying. I was trying to use it to prepare for the show. Here's Musk on Kudlow's show discussing the situation.
There was a cyber attack on X today, which shut it down and may have been foreign sourced.
Yes.
It's a big story. You want to give us a moment on that?
Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Oh, well, so that's your suspicion. Is the website, is the internet up? Is it up yet?
It's up, yeah.
It's up yet. Okay, good.
Earlier in the day, Musk had tweeted the following. There still is, a massive cyber attack against X. We get attacked every day, but this was done with a lot of resources. Either a large coordinated group and/or a country is involved.
According to a Telegram post, though, pro-Palestinian cyber hacking group Dark Storm Team took credit for the attack. Also, cyber attackers sometimes use fake or inaccurate IP addresses to make them harder to trace, meaning that the attackers might not have been in Ukraine.
Tesla's shares also fell by more than 15% yesterday, which was the lowest since before Election Day. There have also been protests around the country and in Europe against Musk and Tesla. Police say there have been instances of vandalism, arson, and gunshots.
Broadcaster and author James O'Brien wrote on Blue Sky, "Seriously, who would cyber attack Twitter? All of the USA's enemies must love what it's become under the bedwetter."
Senator Mike Lee responded to the news writing this, "Not cool. I wonder which government-funded NGOs might be involved." So this Palestinian group took credit for it. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were the group that caused it. We don't know and should look into that. I don't know that it was government-funded NGOs either. I don't know who did it, and whoever did it, they're very bad, and they should not do that.
Genius engineer, owner of Twitter, of all people, Elon Musk, knows that at the time that he spoke to Kudlow, there was no way to know where those attacks came from. He used that as an opportunity to say, yes, it came from Ukraine. He did that purposely. He knew that at that point there was no way to know. IP addresses saying they came from Ukraine. So, listen,
Well,
many
that's an
people,
indication that they could have come from Ukraine, is it
Yeah,
not?
but the way he said it, yes, all indications they came from Ukraine. He knows better
Well, he didn't say
than that.
Zelensky did it. He said there's indications it was from Ukraine.
Okay.
Yes.
His beef is with Ukraine, not just with Zelensky. The issue is how many people in this world are so angry at Elon Musk. So there's a bigger story here than just the attacks on Twitter, or X, excuse me, which, as he himself has said, those efforts are made every single day.
Yeah.
But also the
Mark's,
report mentioned
Facebook has gone down for periods of time.
absolutely,
Instagram, it just happens.
Hackers exist, and
Yeah.
it happens. But also, the report was mentioning the vandalism, the stock prices going down. People have signed bumper stickers, "Make America a country where it wasn't embarrassing to own a Tesla like it is now." People are angry at Elon Musk. In this country, people are angry at Elon Musk. And for those of us who don't like what is happening with DOGE, the anger is understandable. I'm not saying that excuses or justifies a hack of X, but I am saying that the larger story in my mind is the fact that many people are expressing absolute rage. When you have someone who's about to take his chainsaw to Social Security, to Medicare, we will see more and more acts of outrage, hopefully functional, hopefully healthy expressions of outrage, but they will be coming, mark my word.
That sounds like a threat. Continue to cut government and prepare for more cyber attacks?
No,
Is that what we're
continue to
saying?
cut life-saving programs that people need, such as Medicare and Social Security.
I did my radar on this yesterday, and people, according to polls, CNN broke this news to Marianne, who's the CNN pollster, who is fabulous, broke this news to his colleagues. They were shocked that according to polls, slim majority, not a super majority by any stretch of the imagination, but majority of people like what Elon and DOGE is doing, agree that the cuts are not to vital social services, but to waste, fraud, and abuse. They have greater support than Trump himself got in the popular vote. So I think there are people who are not necessarily Trump supporters who are nevertheless saying to themselves, you know, I'm glad a chainsaw is being precisely taken to the government.
You know, this
to
is the problem, or this is
find
the
things.
question I have for you, Robby. There is deep corruption in Washington. We're here in the middle of it all.
Yes.
That corruption has to do with the corporate lobbying by insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, big food companies, chemical companies, agricultural companies, big oil, gun manufacturers, military-industrial complex, the billions of dollars that these people spend on this, what is basically a system of legalized bribery here in this town. That's where the corruption is. All this is going on with firing federal workers, people who take care of parklands, people who take care of consumer protection, which I know you're not a fan of, people who do medical research. This is a deflection. This is like a steal the purse technique so that people don't look over there. This isn't taking on the deep corruption.
I agree with you that there is deep corruption. The leaders in many of those industries, pharmaceutical industry, insurance industry, energy, etc., you're right that they use their connections to government regulators to get favorable conditions for their companies versus other firms. Now, we disagree on what the solution to that is. You say the solution is even more regulators, and I would say, well then...
No, don't tell me. When you start talking about what I think, that doesn't work for me.
Well, let me tell you what my solution is then, and then you can tell me what your solution actually is. My solution is to make the power that those lobbyists and those regulators and those elite, well-connected people have, to lessen that power by opening them up to more competition, saying the rules are going to be minimal so that the market can do its work, so that you can fight the big guy. They're going to have to compete with rival firms instead of gaming the system with their insider knowledge. The more you try to regulate, the more you craft consumer financial protection type rules, the more the better connected lobbyist type person gets favorable treatment for that big insurance company or pharmaceutical company or social media company. And I'm saying that doesn't work. Regulating ever and ever tighter just gives them more power, and that's what I'm against.
I didn't even say the word regulation.
All right.
It is true that you and I don't agree on the issue of regulations. However, the issue here is money, the undue influence of money on our political system. That's the cancer underlying all the cancers. What we need is to repeal Citizens United. Citizens United was a Supreme Court decision that gave unlimited power for dark money given by corporate forces, given by those like Zuckerberg, given by those like Bezos, given by those like Musk. Let's not forget, Musk spent $277 million to help Donald Trump be elected. That's what you want to get rid of corruption? You get rid of the fact that billionaires like that can give that kind of money. Musk, you can see it on his face. He thinks, well, I bought this government. It's mine. So let's take on the corruption, but let's know where that corruption is. And it doesn't have to do with firing heartbroken, traumatized people who have given their lives. It's not just that how are they going to get another job? In some cases, they already have. The issue is that these people were there with a mission. The fact that they had been villainized and demonized as though all of them were people who were the deep state. So what, you're going to replace, my friend Sylvia Hayes calls it, they're replacing the deep state with the dark state. Something dark is going on here.
We've argued about that before. Let's actually go back to, just because we haven't argued about it yet, this money speech thing.
Okay.
Look, I hear your point, but Citizens United was fundamentally about whether a anti-Hillary Clinton advocacy group could publish a film that was critical of her. That was, and the campaign finance laws tried to say, no, you couldn't do that. And the Supreme Court said, well, obviously you can. That's speech. Just as you could write a book criticizing Hillary Clinton. They said, well, no, it's too close to the election. You can't do that. Obviously a First Amendment violation. Money is speech. The most important thing that Elon Musk did to help Donald Trump get elected, I would argue, wasn't even the $100 million or $200 million in campaign contributions. It was the purchase of X and the boosting of conservative speech you disagree with, which is fine, but you concede, obviously, they have a right to make. You have a right to broadcast pro-Trump messages on Twitter, and that's the thing. Money is speech. It's hard to control the difference there. You have the right to spend money to promote a political message. That's the difference.
You have said 2 or 3 times in the last few minutes, in a very declarative way, money is speech.
Well, that's what the Supreme Court decided.
Yes, the Supreme Court said it. But there was a time when slavery was legal in this country. There have been plenty of times when the Supreme Court has said something, and years later we look back at that and see it as one of the worst decisions ever made by the Supreme Court. The idea that money is speech is one of the most un-American views ever held, and certainly one of the most un-American foundations for any of the Supreme Court decisions in our nation's history.
Well, I don't agree. I don't see a way to get around that. Now,
You elect somebody, and we ultimately, I don't know when it will happen, it won't be anytime soon, where we have a Supreme Court that comes back to its senses.
I want to give rich and powerful people less incentive to give money to political causes because the political system has less power to break up or destroy rival firms. That was how I solved that problem. If there are lower stakes to politics, if it's not some winner-take-all system where there's going to be some vast new network of oversight, regulation, or whatever it is, then they will spend less money on. But it is so important. We got to know whether AI will be free to proliferate. So of course, billionaire wealthy firms are willing to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on that policy. If there was not going to be, if it was going to be up to free enterprise to determine, then there wouldn't be anything to spend money on.
You say you want to give them less incentive. I want to give them less power. We're supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It has become of the billionaires, by the billionaires, and for the billionaires. That is wrong.
Well,
and it dismantles the basic social contract between the American people and our government. Everyone here, everyone's voice is supposed to matter in an equal way. You know, the late Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis said, you can have large amounts of money concentrated in the hands of a few, or you can have democracy. You cannot have both. He was right. He was right when he said it, and history has proven him even more right than he was when he did.
Well, it doesn't make that. I mean, Hillary in 2016, Hillary spent more money than Donald Trump did.
Had more money.
Doesn't make
absolutely.
At the end of the day, it can't change your vote. It's not mind control. Well, they don't own your vote. You own your vote.
But you're absolutely correct, and that's an important issue for Democrats to realize. Yeah. And at the same time, that's not an excuse for the unbelievable corruption by which big money has bought the U.S. government. We got to fix that,
I think
Robby.
Democrats think if they just had less money being spent in politics, that would then be automatic success for them.
No, it has to do more with standing on our principles, returning to the basic issue of unequivocal advocacy for the working people of the United States. The problem in the Democratic Party was Democratic elite who believed that you don't need your principles so much as long as you have enough money.
As long as you have more money
They
than the
were
other guy.
wrong.
Well, that part of it we agree on. Up next, there is more chaos at the Washington Post. We will discuss more rising coming up in just a minute.